Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is the first of 4 sessions here in September. And we're trying out the newest edition of Fading Suns, Pax Alexius, which is a 3-volume set and a slipcover. It is very hard to find just the one book I wanted separately. I had to order it from Ulisses Spiele in Germany to get the single copy. They didn't have single copies at Gen Con. I had to send someone there and they were like, nope, we don't have any copies. I don't understand. This was a Kickstarter that was done last year. It brings back Bill Bridges, who was sort of the original creator of the system back in the day. It has gone through a couple of early versions back in the 90s, and then a later version, early 2000s, and then this new one, which streamlined it. I only played Fading Suns back in the day, but there was a recent bundle of holding that had all of the PDFs for all the materials there. I was saying not a bundle of holding, but humble bundle. No, wait, bundle of holding. I got it right the first time. And the stuff was nice. I mean, and I was very, very curious about it because this is a genre that appeals to me, though I can't exactly explain why. So I wanted to give it a try out, and Jay had talked about it on the Gauntlet when we kind of had back and forth, and so that kind of inspired me to put this up. Today is going to be kind of a session 0, session 1, in that we're going to be picking out the pre-gens, doing setup on those, figuring out some connections between them, and then we're going to be playing out some incidents, kind of hard frame a little bit to kind of get us into play. Today is about like figuring out how the system works. What was the roles? How does that role get resolved? Things like that. There's a lot to this game, and there's a lot that is easy at the surface level, but then they've got subsystems that drill down. We're going to try and work our way to get at like the comfortable with that surface layer of the rules, and then we'll start like looking at, okay, now what's the depth to this? Where do we go from there? But I'll talk about those mechanics after a bit. I did make up that cheat sheet that is in the folder, but I will walk through what that means. So I want to go through the cats to give you my pitch for this, to give you my sense of things. So this is a far future, like Dune, like Coriolis. This is one of those futures where Earth has been forgotten. They reference it, it's in the back, you know, there's talk about it, but we're far away from that. We're way centuries down the road. And it has gone through multiple rises and falls. The history in the Fading Suns book is very long. Well, while only a little bit of it is actually relevant to what we're playing. The game setting is sci-fi, but it is definitely medieval, Gothic, early modern trappings. That's the look of it. That's the feel of it. That's the aim of this. And despite the names of some of the noble houses like the Hazat and Lihalan and so on, this is very much a decidedly Western and a European look, and I would even say pseudo-Catholic in its approach to faith and religion and the ideals of sin and all of those things. So just keep that in mind there. The important ideas, important concepts that I want to get across that I think are important for us to have a hold of the concepts is at some point, these jump gates were found. These are ancient artifacts of a precursor civilization. And to get from one system to another, you take a ship to the jump gate, and you have a code that will take you to another place. Jump gates can only go to certain other jump gates, and you have to have the right codes to go to them. Jump gates are easily broken. Codes get lost. So there's a whole possibility of other places to go to. That's one of the big things in the setting is about that. But control of those jump gates and control of those habitable systems is really important. The sort of discovery of those and the ability to travel out led to corporations, zaibatsus, as they say, going out and spreading out and colonizing the galaxy of these systems, this place, which led eventually to another set of rise and falls to something that's called the Second Republic. Second Republic was a sort of a high-tech institution of the golden age. At least they thought it was the golden age, but as we're going to see in the defining here, present civilization doesn't think of it as a golden age. But rise and fall of that Second Republic, eventually that republic collapses for various reasons that are in dispute about exactly why that happened, but there's a set of dark ages. And out of that arises sort of the three orders of control for humanity, and that is the noble houses. There are like 20 of them at that point, major and minor. The church and its various forms, and then the guild, which are the corporations that have arisen. So those will eventually evolve such that there's about 5 or 6 major players in each of those divisions. We've got 5 kinds of nobles. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 different orders of the church, ranging from the healers to the inquisitors. And then we've got the different guilds that have their different roles, and they all kind of interact. The fourth estate outside of this are the yeomen. That's the sort of the people who are the freebooters, who are not involved, who are maybe the serfs and the peasants and the people who have managed to survive. They get much less attention in Fading Suns than the other types do, but they are still a possibility here, and we'll talk about that. The main thing that happens with the rise of this nobility, the rise of this church and the guilds, and the rise and fall, is a compromise that is struck. The church believes that high technology, meaning any tech that is kind of past what modern 21st century Earth is dangerous because it corrupts, and it can change you, and it can summon demons and all of these things. And in fact, mechanically in the game, that is true. The mechanical system in the game, now, why that happens is another question, but it is a mechanical thing that if you are using high-tech items, there is a chance for you to kind of go off the deep end with them. If you've played 13th Age, it's the idea of having too many magic items. There's a little bit of that in this game. So I want to put that out there. That's the big thing for the church. They have, social and political beliefs and things. The church really believes that everybody should stay in their strata. They have a caste, they have a role, they have a social place, and they should stay in it. So that's another thing about the church. Now, mind you, there are more progressive and more mystical traditions within the church, but that's a lot of what's going on. So rise and fall, tech. The other important concept that I want to talk about is sort of more recent history. These are things to keep in mind in the background. 3 things. One is the symbiotes. So there is our big bad evil in the Fading Sun setting are these psychic parasites that take over people's minds. Some time ago, they were found. They swept over civilized space. They were only stopped by a combination of the powers of theurgy, which is basically the magic that the church people have, and psionics and psychic powers, which until that time, both of those things were considered bad, were considered dangerous. Now they've kind of gotten a second life. They are still controlled. Certainly theurgy, because it's in the hands of the church, is reviewed more positively. But on the other hand, the psychics, they're kind of grudgingly accepted. So that's an important thing that's out there. The symbiotes have been pushed back, locked back behind gates for the moment. But that's a looming threat that's out there. Second, there have been various wars between the noble houses over who is in control. And right now, it is kind of a settled matter. The leader of one of the noble houses, House Hawkwood. That's our Emperor Alexius, has taken the throne, has taken the Phoenix throne, and rules and is in charge, and happy day for everyone. Of course, lots of things being maneuvering and plans being plotted behind the scenes, but that's the important thing, is that Alexius is in charge. He has these questing knights, he has orders there, and there's kind of a sense of some positive change. But of course, other houses and forces have a different idea. Last thing I want to mention as a concept to have in the back of your mind is the Kurgan. There were a number of gates that were opened in recent years, and some houses that had been isolated because of various collapses returned as sort of space barbarians. And they are one of the threats that's out there. Emperor Alexius has made some deals with some of the Kurgan, but they're still out there as pirates and threats and things like that. There are non-humans in the setting, but we'll come back to those as they're important in this. So that's the concept I want to lay out there. Like, that's the big pitch. Our approach, like what we're going to be doing today, is going to be taking pre-gens, can walk through what they are. If anyone has a strong idea about what they want to play, they can choose that, or we can kind of walk through what there is. Want to give you a chance to tweak those, but also walk through, and we're going to talk about what those perks mean. Perks are your special abilities. They're your feats from any other game. Some of them have a lot of text. There is a simplified version of the perk description in the Character Keeper, and there is a bigger document that I made the mistake of putting together that is in there because it was much longer than I thought it would be, and it took me a lot of formatting to get it there. But there is that as well with the full description. We'll get that set. We'll figure out relationships, build some connections, backstory, and then I'm going to kind of hard frame us into a situation. Now, one of the things I want to say about the structure of play is normally we've got 3 hours. I take 2 breaks. Normally I take the break on the hour. Jay has a little bit of a like a family run out thing that he has to do. So we're going to take our first break at 1:45, and then we'll take our second break at just before the final hour. So I just want to tell you that that's what's going to happen. We'll take that 10-minute break. We'll get started answering questions and things, and then Jay can drop back in when he gets back in. Just wanted to put that out there. My goal today is for us to try out some mechanics, get used to our characters, and get into the mix of a situation, a problem that will cover us for the following 3 sessions. Tone. So this is a game that kind of takes itself seriously. It describes itself as a passion play. For me, it's about sci-fi and weird mysticism and swashbuckling and space sword duels and all of that kind of thing. So it is leans more towards the series. It is not the grimdark of 40K at all. While there is some darkness in this, it is not that kind of nihilism or anything like that. And I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the best possible way, because I'm running Dune and I just reread a bunch of the Dune books. Dune can be a little self-serious and kind of up its ass. This is a little bit less of that. There's a little more wildness, a little more openness, a little bit less of the trajectory of destiny going on here. So we are going to have questions of religion, questions of nobility and status, political tensions, maneuvering. All of those things are going to be the kinds of subject and matter that we're going to be working with. Now, because this particular group hasn't played together in this configuration, we are using a layered set of safety tools. I know you have all played on the Gauntlet before, so you're familiar with this, but I want to walk through briefly. In the Character Keeper, we have the Lines and Veils tab that has, beyond this CATS discussion, the most basic set of like agreements that we have for our safety. Lines being a hard line on anything that you do not want to see in play. Veil being anything that if it occurs, you'd rather see it off screen or just referenced, but not on screen. And then ask first being, I'm okay with it, but I would want a check-in before we would see that topic on screen. I've kind of left it blank so that people can fill in what they want. During this first sort of section of play, please feel free to look through that and see what you think. We also have a matrix there for romance about whether you would be interested in romantic interactions between PCs or with NPCs, or if you just like an ask first on those things, that's also there on that page.
Just to be clear, if we're checking those romance options, that's saying we're okay with this,
yes,
as opposed to saying we're actively interested in it.
You're just okay with it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. So that's our basic baseline. The second thing I know you're all familiar with is the X card. For when I play, say X card or do the gesture to mark out something as X card. X card means that you've hit something that you find objectionable, problematic, that you find wildly off tone from what we've been playing, or if we're starting to move towards a line or a veil, maybe that we've kind of forgotten about or haven't noticed, that's a good time to X card. It's also can X card for play approaches. Maybe somebody's being intrusive into your play space, interrupting you, things like that. When you mark the X card, the only question we might ask is like, how far back do we need to go? Like, what is it we need to cut at? You never have to defend your choices with the X card. I think that's really important to keep in mind. And then last but not least, we have the open door policy, which means that if you need to step away for whatever reason, you can do that. If you need to leave, it'd be great if you could tell us you'll be right back or whatever, but you're not obligated to. As well, the other part of open door is this, is if you get done with this session, you're like, that is not the game I thought it was. That is not the game I wanted to play. It is legit for you to, between sessions, to write me and say, I would not like to come back. Thank you very much. Don't have to explain yourself. Don't have to defend yourself. You're always have that option is always out there. So keep that in mind. Let me talk, if we can here, look at the pre-gens. I want to very quickly kind of go through, like when you're looking at these, kind of what is going on here. This is a stat, which they call characteristics, but you're going to hear me say stat, even though they call them characteristics, plus skills game, meaning that you add a stat and a skill together in combination to figure out what your target number is. We have, if you've played any World of Darkness games, you will recognize the configuration of the stats. We have body stats, we have mind stats, and we have spirit stats. The first one is kind of your focus. That's like when you're doing an effect with it, that's your relative strength. If you're doing brute force with it, that's what that's about. The second one is about your finesse. If you're trying something skillful with it, that's what you're aiming for. And then the last one is your what they call your fortitude, meaning that's your resilience. That's how you soak things. That's how you roll resistance on those categories. So that's what those are. And then the skills down below, we'll go through those as we need to. A lot of them are self-explanatory. The only one I want to definitely call attention to is knavery is lying, if you're not familiar with that term. So that's what that is. So that's the way that is. There's a lot of other things on here. Your vitality is your hit points. Your resistances are kind of your armor. Those should be written in. And we'll talk about the other things. Down further on are the perks. There is a page that has a summary of what the perks mean. And then capabilities. I want to mention this because not unlike say Powered by the Apocalypse or some other games like D&D 5e, we have rolling with advantage and rolling with disadvantage. Basically, capabilities are things that you know. If you need to make a roll and it kind of required a particular capability, like the card specialization, if you don't have it, you roll with disadvantage. That's the basics of why they have those capabilities. We are going to pay less attention to those capabilities here in the first session or two, because that kind of gets into some fancy stuff. The basic thing that I want to tell you, keep this in mind. When you go to do something, we figure out what that stat plus skill is. Whatever that number is, you're going to roll 1d20, and you want to roll low. You want to roll under that number. If you do that, if you roll that number or below, you succeed. And then we look at the number that you actually rolled, and that gives you a number of points to essentially spend on effect. First thing you do is you spend some of those points, which they call victory points, on to overcome the resistance. And then there are other things you can do with the victory points after that. This is going to take a bit to go get used to, especially because there's a little kind of a from turn to turn, how many victory points you get to keep kind of thing that is going on. But we'll get that figured out. I'm going to do this. One of the things. Yes.
Quick question.
Yes.
Some of the pre-gens have the start with their max VP, and some have a 0 for that. Is that
no? Those they all should be at 0 technically at the start.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I'm going to do between probably now and next time, once we've got figured out what characters people are doing, is get a little bit bigger space to track those VPs, because that's going to change from moment to moment. That's one of the things that will occur. We also need a place for you to track your weird points that you have at the moment, which is not as well laid out there. So I would like to take a look at these characters, and if you've had a chance to look through the pre-gens, Del, it sounds like you have a strong feeling for the schemer.
Yeah, that looks interesting to me, definitely.
Okay. Is everyone cool if we say, hey, Del is the schemer? Are you guys all good with that?
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking Littlefinger who can actually fight.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, go ahead and you can come up with a name, mark that in. You are from the Hazat family. The Hazat are the family that is sort of most beholden to the military, and the most dedicated to that approach, and actually fits within some of the things that we're doing here. Does anyone else have questions or like I want to do this kind of
I had
thing?
a general question.
Absolutely, Rod.
So how I mean, like are our characters more cohesive, or are we going to be
That's a really good, yeah.
or
So no, what we're going to do is we're going to start out and figure out how you're connected, how you're friends, or at least colleagues at the start, and we're going to have a task you're going to undertake. There may be some conflicting motives, but I think generally this is not going to be PvP. It's going to be focused on the group working together. Cool. Jay, questions or thoughts about what you are looking at here?
Yes, I have narrowed it down to 2.
Okay.
With an asterisk.
Okay.
A caveat. The Jinx or the Witch are the
Okay.
2 I'm leaning toward.
All right. The Witch is interesting, as it certainly you get invested in the psychic side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're also an alien in that you're an Ur-Kar,
Okay.
which is kind of the sort of this a little bit rougher version of the psychic group there. I chose for the psychic stuff predominantly kind of telekinesis style stuff for him, as you can see under the maneuvers.
Right.
And the Jinx is also a good one. It is part of the guilds. The charioteers are the spacers. So there's some interesting stuff. I think where it says curse mostly, I think it means nosy is actually what was supposed to be written in there. But I think I mistyped that. There was a lot of typing to do these, as you can imagine. So let's mark those two down. What was the asterisk you said?
So I'm not sure how. I don't know if we get to the end of this process and you're short as a GM what you thought would have been picked up as a character.
I have no idea. I literally, like, I have no clue. I gave you 11 choices. There's no way that I could plan. I have a situation and I will shoehorn the four of you into it. So,
all right, perfect. All right.
Yeah. So let's put those two down as possibilities. David, do you have some thoughts?
The two that I'm eyeing are either the muscle or the techie.
That's one of the techie.
Which are both very different. So in certain, I guess that might depend on which direction. I guess one is it Rod, the one who is yet to choose?
Yeah.
Goes.
Yeah.
I feel like the sneak is maybe a little bit duplicative now of roles with the schemer that we had, although certainly we could make do with both. But
right. The muscle is interesting. It is definitely the hardest fighter of the ones that are there. But the techie has some interesting things that they can do, and also access to some more armor and weapons than others might have. So I think those are two good choices. Rod, any of those of the tool choices that other people have picked that you're interested in, or do you have some other choices?
I had also looked at the witch, but also the priest.
Okay.
And possibly even the thief.
Okay.
So
the priest, that's our novitiate. They're theurgists, so they do have essentially the church talents. They're from Sanctuary Aeon, which are the healers. And so you do have those maneuvers of doing devotional liturgy and laying on hands and blessing people that are kind of interesting tools that you have. And then the thief, let me look at that.
Thieves are always fun.
Yeah. It's our sneak yeoman, independent, not part of any one of the major lines. Has some like they're very into sleight of hand, and have some nice perks that really go with that. So, Jay, you've heard the others, what they're interested in. Which do you want to lean towards? Which one do you want to do?
I'm going with the witch.
Okay. All right. And David?
I'm just looking over the perks.
Okay.
And the specific descriptions here to finalize.
And if you have any questions about what those mean, we can walk through that too.
There's some that have like commission, and I assume that's just sort of you have social status.
Yeah. So like the rank that you have, kind of when you make up your character, you get a rank within your guild group, and that gives you a little bit of a benefit. Some things about your skills, and also gives you some like mind resistance and things like that, depending on One of the things we will do too is because we've got a short game is we will do at least one level up. So that you have a chance to make some changes and adjustments and things for your characters. Rod, what are you thinking now? Do you want to go with the priest?
Let's go for the priest.
Okay. All right.
For the priest and a witch and a schemer, I think I'll go with the muscle then.
Okay. That seems good.
Give us a someone who can actually do things.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So here's what I like to do is go through and take a look, see if you can find a picture, come up with a name. If you want to take a look at what those perks do and check on that over on the perks tab, and I can answer questions. I'm going to hide the character columns that we're not using, so things may shift a little bit as we're doing this. Okay.
Is there a name guideline in one of these documents?
I didn't pull up anything like that. It's they have a very sort of mix of old and new names. Think classic high medieval from different cultures is a good guideline. Actually, in the Dramatis Personae PDF that's in there, where they had where some of these characters originally came from, I think there are some descriptions that have example names for the different classes now that I think about it. This column. Oh yeah.
Lola, I think the priest got hidden somewhere.
Oh no. Oh, that's right. Of course they did
The
that.
aid, yeah.
There's those. We hide those. Sorry.
That's okay.
Do the blessings and curse have technical definitions, or are those more thematic,
They do
suggestive?
have technical definitions, and I actually pulled it up because I'm going to kind of walk through those for each of you. So you should see the aid there now.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. One of the problems with this new edition is that this is a very large book. And
Yes.
in their infinite wisdom, they decided, you know what? We don't need an index.
That's
Why would we
right.
need an index?
You need that for.
On top of that, they made some very interesting choices about how they decided to order the information presented. Yes. 1, 6.
Okay, I was able to find my blessing and curse in the rule book
Oh, good.
after some trial and error.
Yes. I think they're in under the character archetypes, right?
I just I tried searching for blessing and curse, and there were a lot of hits, and then I just searched for the name.
Oh.
I searched for bold, and that brought me right to it. These are from the faction, right? That
Yes.
yeah, okay.
So Del, your blessing is disciplined,
Okay.
and this gives you a choice. You can get +2 on strength or dexterity combat rolls. You choose one of those at the start, and you can put
Probably
that.
dexterity.
Okay.
I'm picturing more swashbuckler than.
Yeah. And then you have vengeful, meaning that if you get insulted, you have a -2 to your goal roll when that happens.
Right. Yeah, I saw
To
that.
resist. Okay.
It's sort of what inspired the little finger comparison.
And then let me find our which is the vagabonds. So, Jay, compassionate means you're going to get +1 when you persuade to help others. But uncouth means you get -2 to your presence at society functions.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, I thought you might be. And then Rod, let me find. There's actually a program that somebody wrote with a character creator for this, an app that I tried, and it is not good. It is not good. It was too bad. I was very, very disappointed with that. So like our witch, our novitiate also has compassionate, so +1 to persuade when you're trying to help someone, when you're kind of in the pursuit of that. And then gullible is -2 to mind resistance when somebody's trying to fast talk you.
So just like me in real life.
Yeah. So one of my goals is when we're so just to kind of tell you, you're going to be starting together as a cohort, as a group that are together. We're going to start you on a ship. There are going to be some NPCs accompanying you, and for various reasons, you and the NPCs will be thrown together. I'm going to give you a chance to after we kind of do relationships and things like that, to have a little chance to interact, look around the ship, and then a crisis will emerge that you will have to deal with.
Del, would you mind if our characters were related?
Sure. The see which one's your character?
Mine is Lyro, the novitiate.
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
call her.
Certainly
Okay.
makes sense that a priest could, could be cousins drawn from the Hazat family.
Right. Maybe like maybe like a fifth son who needed to find his glory elsewhere.
Sounds good.
I like that.
Yeah. Just pulling off the noble inspiration, or that's pretty classic for
Yep.
for the fifth and sixth sons like that start becoming priests and things because there's no way they're inheriting lands, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Here's the other thing. A couple of you have e-shields. E-shields are like in Dune, there are electronic force shields to prevent damage. They operate in a very narrow range. So you'll see they have a threshold that's listed for them. For example, Lyro actually has a little antique E-shield. Basically, if you take damage below that number, it doesn't activate. If you take it above it, it'll subtract that from the damage.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take our first break here. So we'll take 10, come back, do a little bit of talk, and then when Jay gets back, we will start doing relationships and things, okay?
So I may have gotten the time zone wrong. I'm good for another hour.
Oh, okay. So I'm completely off. All right.
It might be me because I'm in Central Time. I know all the times.
I always forget that because you're in Kansas, but
Yeah,
you're in the good part of Kansas. My family.
Yes, I'm on the Missouri side.
My family's not from that side. It's from the middle of nowhere, Fort Hayes and Dodge City and stuff.
Yeah, that's way. I've got clients out there. Yes, they're way out there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I'm good for another hour. It's,
okay. Excellent.
Yeah, another hour from now, then I'll have to run and go get him.
So let's do this then. Why don't we go ahead, and if people are good, let's get a basic introduction of what you're imagining for your character, and if you have some questions, what you're thinking about for that.
I could use another couple minutes just to finish up.
Yeah, let's do another
Scrolling
5
through pictures to
Yeah.
hopefully find some final
Oh, yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Now I did a quick search for the alien race, Ukar.
Yeah.
Ukar, is that right?
Yeah.
It looks like they're blue skinned, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't find anything. So most of the drawings I see, most of the pictures I see are rough, and I don't like them.
They're
so
definitely
Go ahead.
They're definitely from the old thing. It hasn't been a lot of new stuff done of them.
Yeah. So I've got a picture for now. If I find something better, I will swap it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the art here is a little rough. Well, and the one woman character, she's spilling all out of her dress.
Yeah,
if you can call that a dress.
It like most of the pictures seem to be highly sexualized.
Yeah.
Version of that, or done in very much that style.
Yeah.
I will say this for Early Fading Suns, it's very consistent on their art style.
True. Yeah. True. Oh, here's one. That's interesting. Okay. All right, that guy's interesting. All right, let's do that. That looks way more interesting.
I will quickly go through, and this is a living document, so this can get updated as we go along, but let me quickly go through some things we have as lines and veils already established by the group. So right now we have a hard line on the following thing: torture by the PCs, slavery is anything other than bad, sexual violence, homophobia, violence against animals, parentheses, pets, cute, domestic animal things. And then veils for sex scenes, that kind of intimacy, and on graphic violence and gore, I would assume on that. So those are the things that we have established, which all seem super reasonable to me. One of the things we're going to do is the game does, as I said, have a lot of like layers to it. and we will introduce those as we go along. For example, there are a lot of things about conditions, which have various different effects and things like that. We're going to kind of leave those off to the side today. We'll introduce those as we go along. We'll introduce like fancier maneuvers and things as we go, because there are a lot of moving parts here.
Just trying to settle on a name, and then I'll be good.
Oh, I know.
Unfortunately, fantasyname-generators.com isn't loading.
So Lyros, were you thinking we're like closely related or like distant cousins?
I think that oh, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think's
I was
more
kind of thinking
interesting?
like, I mean, it's sort of the cop-out answer, but I was thinking somewhere in between. We're like close enough related that we know each other through family, but not so closely related that we like grew up together, right? Like, when various things happened with our more direct families, we showed up to events as guests, like if your sister got married, I would show up, right, and participate, right? But but at the same time, I don't, I know you more of as an acquaintance I happen to be related to than a close personal family friend or something like that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Like that. So they made some really interesting changes with this new version of Fading Suns. They took out, it used to be there, you had to also roll a whole bunch of D6s in addition to the D20. They took that out to kind of simplify that. They also added levels for the characters, which is a little of unusual change. Though the levels aren't quite so, how do I put this? Fallout 2D20 has levels where they actually kind of makes a difference, and all the bad guys are high level and stuff in that game. It's a little odd.
Okay. Is that what they call rank? Is that the rank category on the sheet?
Yeah, your class, and then the one beside it is kind of your level. Oh, I hid the wrong column there, didn't I? I was going to keep doing the wrong thing to your character there. I had it highlighted, so it was a different color for me, and I was like, "Oh, I've left a problematic column."
I don't know, right? If I delete like the bottom 900 rows or whatever.
You feel free.
I don't think we'll. Let me just scroll over to make sure I'm not. Okay. I don't think we need a 1,000 rows. I'm good to go.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is go through, introduce yourself as a player and your pronouns, and then your character's name and their pronouns, and then kind of give us who you are imagining they are, and then I will have some questions for you. So today I'm going to work my way from the full left across of the character keeper. David, you will not be forced to start that each session. I will move that over one each time, so you will not always be in the hot seat. So I just want to give you a heads up on that.
Go sit. That's no good. Go place.
So David, tell us who you are.
Yeah. I am playing Nightstick Nat. The a veteran turned mercenary. Acquired his name in the service from his perhaps overzealous use of his service mace that he keeps with him. He is
So he, him pronouns?
yes, he, him.
Okay.
Yeah, he is brought on, I think, as a hired muscle, basically.
Mhm.
And as far as he's concerned, this is just a job, and he doesn't care. It's just business. He'll kill who he has to kill. Leave alive who he has to leave alive. But whether he ends up getting attached to something, that's a hazard to the business. But he's certainly intending to just collect a paycheck and do what needs to be done.
So, do you imagine that he has been, in the service for a while, for a long time, or is he relatively young in his time within the military forces?
I think he's done a few tours.
Okay.
And I think he's been promoted to sergeant a few times and then busted back down for various infractions. Sort of caught in that liminal state of too much initiative for a private, but too insubordinate for a petty officer.
Do you think that you were born within a guild family, or did you come up from, like, recruited from the yeoman?
I think he's recruited for yeoman. I don't think he's
Okay.
ever shown any talent for anything other than I think he had a listless childhood, and the army was the first thing that he showed any real talent or aptitude for.
And like tall, short, like what are you imagining here for kind of like when people see him, what's their first impression?
I think he's just slightly shorter than average,
Okay.
but very sturdily built. Certainly he does not have like a natural commanding presence, sort of like sort of the effortless physical presence of that like a noble might have.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of more built like a bull than a giant.
Okay. Do you imagine that he came from sort of, in terms of the planet that he was from, agrarian, or did he come from a more industrial, or did he come from a more urban? Like, what do you imagine that would have been, his planetary sort of upbringing?
I think he grew up in a farm colony.
Okay.
Sort of a backwater. I think it still sometimes shows a little bit in his speech patterns. That he's clearly not only is he not an elite, but he's not even he's relatively low status for a non-elite.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. The noble families are there. One of the families is the Decados, whose name is maybe a little on the nose, but the Decados are, and other people may pronounce it Decados. I don't know. It's a fantasy game, but anyway, the Decados are kind of our sinister, scorpion-like, maneuvering behind the scenes family. What is your grudge, Nightstick, against the Decados?
I think in one of his tours, his unit was under the command of a political general from the Decados family, someone with more connections than skill,
Mm-hmm.
who misused in a wasteful way of the soldiers' lives and safety, misused his units to in pursuit of his own glory.
Right.
And some of Nightstick's brothers and sisters in arms beefed it in some hard bloody fighting that didn't need to get done. And it's not that he's not willing to make some sacrifices if
Mhm.
it needs to get done, but it was the fact that this didn't need to happen.
Right. You were basically just cannon fodder.
Yeah, people are familiar with Civil War. I'm thinking of Dan Sickles, who got a bunch of his men killed at Gettysburg.
The one last thing I'm going to ask you, and this may be something you want to think about between, is like what happened that has kind of pushed you from like being part of an organized unit or being, absolutely, a for hire sorcerer to kind of getting pushed out and working with a small, tighter group of people. What was there an incident? Was it a change in attitude? Was there something else?
See if anything comes to mind immediately there.
Well, why don't you chew on that one?
Yeah.
Think on that. We'll come back to you on that. Let us come. Rod, introduce yourself, your pronouns, and your character and their pronouns, and we'll kind of walk through.
Hi, I'm Rod, he, him, and my character is Lyro, he, him. I think I am. I think he had said that the Hazat were fairly military minded.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my character would be kind of an aberration.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So far as his career choice, I think as a child he probably went to some great cathedral, and they were having high mass, some kind of high liturgy, and I think just the whole atmosphere just overwhelmed him and impressed made a favorable impression in his young mind of this super highly structured, everything, a lot of bling in a way, all the incense and candles and statuary and all the
ritual and
ritual.
pageantry of it all. Yeah.
Pageantry is a great word. Yeah.
Right.
But I think he's also attracted to the ritual of it.
Mm-hmm.
The mysticism of it really appealed to him. There is in the character sheet something says affliction cloistered. Does that just mean he's been out away from the rest of the world? Or
Let me grab it here. That I actually have the definition of what that means here. One second. What that means is that you kind of grew up apart from other people. So once you kind of joined the faith, you were isolated. Essentially, the first time you try to influence somebody who doesn't know you, we're going to make a check to see whether your role is favorable or unfavorable. Like there's a little bit of a shyness there, and I'll make sure I get the text for that into your thing.
cool.
So very military family, very military background. Were you supported by your parents? Were you disowned by your parents? Were there something in between? Was there a split in terms of how they viewed that?
I think I came from a large family, so there wasn't any great consequence to me leaving. I guess their philosophy is also, it doesn't hurt to have someone in the church.
Right. That'd be a very Hazat point of view, I think, from what I've read. They're very like sly and scheming, from what little I've read. So I could totally see them thinking like, oh, yeah, a member in the priesthood that could come in handy, right?
Yeah.
What do you imagine? Like, we haven't kind of defined like the theurgy, this power that you have. Like, how visible do you imagine it is when you do your gifts?
That's a good question. Is it kind of are we defining how common it is in this in this
No, I mean,
universe, or
like kind of like when you do it, what does it look like? What do we see? Is there a glow? Is there a look from the touch of your hands? Is there something else? Like, what is the theurgic manifestation look like?
I think it's kind of a personal thing, so that only the person being affected will see like a glow or feel, warmth, or however it manifests. I think for others, they might they don't see anything ostentatiously magical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to hold up. Sorry, I got some GCOG things happening, so I'm going to take just 1 minute here to answer a question.
Sure.
You just want to take our 5 minutes now?
Actually, yeah, let's take the 5 here. We'll continue on with Lero. I'll come back and continue to do the introduction. Thank you. So take 5 and we'll come back. I will pause the recording. So, Lyra, how old do you imagine you are? Do you imagine yourself as fairly young? Do you imagine yourself as having like a little bit older in the church? What do you think?
Yeah, let's say I'm fairly young.
Okay.
18.
Yeah, so fairly young. You're out in the world and you are with a group of people, you're traveling. Do you imagine that did something happen in your order that kind of made you leave? Were you asked to go and travel? Or is this something that you think the Sanctuary Aeon people do as kind of a rite of passage?
I think that last one, where it's you have to go out into the universe as a servant.
Right. Like
And,
walk the worlds.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that. I like that. And I do want to mention here, so you've got the theurgy, right? You've got 3 of those. I've got those listed under your maneuvers there. So you have devotional liturgy, which basically is you kind of project a thing to help people resist fear and to help people shake off bad states or malicious influence. You have laying on hands, which is your healing. And then prophet's blessing, which is essentially you can go to do this, and if you do it, then it will make a task favorable. There are no like mind points or energy points or anything like that for your skills. You just get to use them. You have a thing called theurgy 3. You'll notice that's like your under as your last skill. That's just sort of your rank in theurgy. So that's just to give you a sense of how that works. Okay.
What's like the range, or is there a range?
So like your starting level, so 2 or 3 at starting level is good, is really solid. It can go up to, I think 10, I think is the highest, but I'd have to go and look at
Okay.
those notes.
Right. But those are like the heads of the church or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, well,
like
in PC terms, it's that they've spent all their points on that, and now they can buy really cool talents.
Right.
Yeah. So, but just I want you to have a sense of that. Why do you think you have an e-shield? Is that something from your family, or do you think it's something given to you by the church, or what?
Yeah, I think the family connection makes sense.
Okay.
Like mom sends you the e-shield.
That's right. Be careful.
Right, like-
You don't get
Yeah.
cookies, you get an energy shield. I like it. Okay. Tall, short? Do you look younger than you are? Do you look older than you are? How are you imagining that?
I think I look exactly pretty much how old I am.
Okay.
Which is young.
Okay.
I think on the taller side, but not super tall.
Do you imagine that, like, I mean, one of the things we assume, especially given the description, is that the different families, you can kind of maybe tell, like somebody has no blood. Do you think that's obvious with you or inobvious?
I think that an observant person would be able to tell.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. I think that gives us a good sense of who you are.
Mhm.
So next, let us come to Dell. Dell, tell us, introduce yourself, your pronouns, and then your character and their pronouns.
Just a quick,
Okay.
can I jump in quickly before Dell gets
Sure.
started here? I've got an idea for why I'm not in the military anymore that
Oh,
maybe
okay.
ties into Dell, but it also could send his character in a slightly different direction. So I wanted to pitch that before you get started.
Sure, go ahead.
So my idea is that I'm still technically was still technically like in active duty in the military, and that Dell, Nathan rather, needed like what figured had something planned. And he thought he needed some muscle, and so he pulled his connections and got me just like ripped away from my unit and through political machinations and assigned to him as like a protection or something like that.
Okay,
And
that sounds good.
I'm not necessarily super happy about it, but the job's the job.
I like that.
I'll actually add on to that. I knew of you through that war where you were used as cannon fodder. I was on the other side.
Okay.
But he holds no grudges. And he saw you were capable. You survived that slaughter, so you must know what you're doing.
I like that.
Okay, so I'm Dell, he, him. The character is Nathan, also he, him. So he's a noble, and he kind of lets everybody know it at the drop of a hat. He's very proud of his heritage. Hazat, from what a little I've read, they're sort of a contradiction in terms. They're very focused on military, but they're also very a Machiavellian sort of, right. They're always trying to think 3 steps ahead of their enemies and be clever. He tends more towards the clever side. While he will fight, I mean, he's had a sword put in his hand at the age of 5, but he truly believes that the best way to survive a fight is to not be in it, right? So he won't run from a fight, but he won't provoke one unless it's necessary. And he'll probably run from a fight too, depending on the circumstances. So sort of haughty. And he's very ambitious. His goals are to be he wants a high ranking in whatever the Hazat's version of a spy agency is.
Mm-hmm. How old do you imagine him as?
He's like in his mid-20s. But he's got the bearing of a slightly older guy. He looks more like he's in his 30s.
And he is more of a calculating figure, but you said that he was in some active combat situations, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like as a commander or as an agent or something else.
the I would imagine him as yeah, it's more like a commander type. And given his skill set, he probably would have been given more like attack under cover of night and those types of missions.
So why are you out now on your own? What happened that you're not like in service, that you are kind of freebooting right now?
Right. So he applied for, he went for status in their spy agency, right? Their, their CIA or whatever, right? The term you want to use. And he was rebuffed. He was turned down and turned away. And he sort of has a suspicion that it's a test.
Okay.
Right. But he doesn't really know. And so he's out there trying to prove himself.
And I will look up, I know that there's a name for, I'm certain because it's one of these kinds of games, that there's a name for a spy agency amongst the Hazat. What do your family think? Like your immediate family, like not the Hazat as a whole, but your parents or relatives.
They like his ambition. His parents are both big on climbing the ranks, climbing the social ladders, right? His rebuff from the agency hurt his standing with his parents, though. Right? They had very big hopes for him, just like he has big hopes for himself, and so far he seems to have failed.
Excellent. I like that.
The Archons, yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Archons.
How do you dress? Are you dressed flashily? Are you dressed more conservatively? Like what
he probably has a couple of different outfits. I picture him as a little bit of a chameleon, right? Right. His sort of standard dress when he doesn't have a plan is slightly fancier than everybody around him.
Okay.
He wants people to know he's above them. But not too ostentatious. But he has outfits for that. He's also what I would call heteroflexible.
Okay. And you've got master deception and
notice my knavery is very high.
Yes. Yeah. Your calculating special ability is one of those special abilities that allows you to generate a like kind of pay it forward. You'll want to look up the mechanics on that because it has some interesting choices to it. So you'll want to look up the full details on that particular perk.
Okay.
I think, and a very classic martial style. Like our witch, both of you have a fighting style that's down there below your equipment.
Yeah.
Basically, it gives you some extra things that you can spend victory points on when you're in combat, in addition to the normal spends. So, just want to point that out to you.
Oh, you mean like the gain initiative edge, that stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So normally when you do your attack, get some victory points, you spend it to overcome resistance, and then maybe you spend some to maybe you save some, or maybe you do some, you can spend 2 points to raise it by damage by 1. This allows you some extra things to do, like, and I'll get additional damage for 1 point, or increase my attack number on the following round. There's some nice stuff there.
I went through and added notes to the perks. For everything that was there. Not everything was, but if you mouse over, you should see a summary from the page there.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. I like that. All right, so that gives us our Hazat. Last but not least, let us hear about our witch.
So I have Merit, which I think is a title. Vina Taki. He, him. I'm Jay. He, him. Yeah. So the witch is Merit Vina Taki. I'm not sure. You may have to talk to me about where the Ukar fit in.
They are, so there's the Obun
Mm-hmm.
and the Urukar, and we've got sort of the civilized and the barbaric half of these people that have a lot
Okay.
of psychic talents.
Okay.
And the Urukar have kind of been scattered out by the Obun in a lot of ways. So you see them out as freelancers and freebooters and things like that. And because they're aliens, the psychic stuff that they do is not regarded quite as fearfully as humans doing psychic stuff.
Gotcha. So I think Vina then is out taking advantage of this scattering, this kind of refugee status, freebooting, looking around, trying to figure out where his place might be going forward. And so maybe he's freebooting, doing these jobs with this nomadic existence, going from place to place.
Do you imagine that Vina has been like all their life in this way, or were they on a settled world and then something changed and they had to take up this existence?
Yeah, I think there was a stable, settled place. I think Vina could have stayed there and lived out his days. But I think he was restless, a little wanderlust, and left, right? In fact, I think maybe there were obligations there, and Vina was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
And how long do you think you've been out? And I don't know the lifespan.
Right.
But like, do you mention a short time or a long time or something in between?
I think something in between. I think enough
Mm-hmm.
that Vina's able to earn his keep, a modest kind of lifestyle, right?
Uh-huh.
Enough experience so that he's not a fish out of water.
Okay.
Among the humans.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, are humans just a thing, or do you think that humans you find interesting or off-putting?
I think off-putting, the weird, the bizarre. Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a question that's kind of a parallel of the thing I asked Nat. What happened that has given you a grudge against the Decados, that human family?
I think it's personal, right? I think something happened, bad, negative, at a personal level. Maybe it's job related. Maybe I got passed over by them and it put me in a bad spot. Left me in a bad state.
Yeah. Left you for dead or bugged out. And
oh, I like the Left for Dead. Yeah, so maybe there's a job and a bunch of folks ended up hurt, and rather than trying to save everybody, bring everybody back, they left a lot of contractors to die, right?
So this may be connected to this war that the Decadi general was commanding.
Are you cool with that kind of tying in?
I am.
Okay.
Like maybe you weren't like on the front lines, but you were doing something.
Right, logistical. Right. Yeah.
So, and then maybe that's how you and Nat connected up when like he moved on. That the two of you managed to get out together alive.
I propose something different, maybe.
Okay.
You were captured by Nathan. Because it's established that Nathan was on the other side of this war. You were, and Vinataki was left for dead. Maybe Nathan captured you. Because it sounds like Nathan's sort of the organizing drive behind this whole
Mhm.
where
Right.
we're going.
And Nathan would dedefinitely never ever waste a resource, right? That's heresy.
Yeah.
Right.
I do have to do this. We've got two Nats and
Oh,
Nathans
yeah, yeah.
now.
Oh, we do.
One of you needs to change your name. I have the X
Yeah,
card double
I got it.
Nats.
I'll change mine. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got confused there for a second.
I was trying to think
So
of
did I. So yeah,
I
just
didn't notice it. I was trying to. I came up with the nickname first. I was trying to think of then a
Yeah,
an
no.
alliterative, name.
No, we'll get that straightened out. It's like when you watch a show and too many people have the same initial sound to their names, and you're like, I don't
Yes.
know what's going on. Yeah, so I like that there's that connection, and so that war went on, brought out there, and Patrick now.
yes.
Okay. Got you out of there after the Left 4 Dead, and we have the three of you kind of drawn together. What do you make of the priest, Merritt? Is the theurgy and stuff that they do interesting? Just weird?
So I think it's not interesting, right?
Okay.
I think what is interesting is because I feel like we as the Ukar, we have these sonic abilities. So maybe I see this theurgy as just another sonic ability that all humans have, right? So I think, and this is just his perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what's interesting is the respect, the affordances humans give this class of folks in humanity, right? I think that is interesting because I think maybe Merit Vina sees that all humanity has this potential, not just these select folks.
Right.
And that's just his perception. That doesn't mean that's truth or anything, right?
Right.
Lero, it seems to me we've got a kind of a trio of Patrick and Vina and Nat that have kind of congregated together. At what point did you hook up with your cousin? Is it fairly recently? Did you find them on the War World? Is it like how did you get mixed in with them?
So I think that, you know, I am required to go out in service, and I think maybe my mom got meddled in again, and you know, since Patrick is a relative, she figured I'd be safer under his.
I think that makes
Right.
makes sense.
You've been placed
question
under
is
private
your-
protection, whatever that's worth. Right. Right. Like,
Your
Right.
mom
Take-
thinks she's
take this
protecting
e-shield.
you. Is she act like? Is this something that Patrick has led her to believe?
Yes. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I like that idea. I like even more that it was parents and parents, right? Like my parents and your parents decided it'd be great to send you with me, and my parents genuinely know me, right? They know what kind of person I am. You know, who's, suffice it to say, not the most moral, right? But so they sort of suckered your parents, and oh yeah, Patrick will totally protect them and show him the ropes. You know,
I think I like it. I'll do a twist on that. I think they took in my mom, but I think my dad knows who Patrick is and thinks that this is gonna harden Lyro up and make him see make him see what the real world's like.
That's fantastic.
I
Maybe,
think-
maybe I'll finally give up this stupid priest thing and pursue a real job.
Right. I mean, the church has a lot of power.
So let me kind of frame up where you're going to be, like what the situation is, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back and kind of get ourselves into the situation here. So you four are headed to the Decados planet of Pandemonium.
They really need to hire
Pandemonium.
better branding.
Yeah.
guys.
a lot of the planets have like it's like in the DC universe. Oh, we're going to go to Bloodhaven. You know,
Right.
It's fine. It's totally
fine.
fine.
It's a spa planet.
Pandemonium had a different name before, and it was kind of a paradisical planet. There were various forces that controlled it. It used to be controlled some long time ago by Hazat families, but there was a change of ownership at some point, and the Decados now rule over it. And as I say, it was one of the planets that was very well and heavily terraformed and well engineered. Like it was a shining star of what can be done with terraforming in the Second Republic. However, in recent years, meaning like within the last century, there was a catastrophic failure of the terraforming system. And it created devastating earthquakes and storms and environmental problems across the globe of Pandemonium, meaning that the settled populace fled to essentially a narrow band around the center of the planet that was more stable. And in particular, areas around one, like the last big major city called Hub, which, is overpacked and crowded and run by Decados family. And they've been trying to figure out how to stabilize the world and maybe put it back to right. But a lot of technology is problematic. They don't understand it. They've lost the tech to it. And there's concerns from the church about how delving into those secrets may have an even greater spiritual cost. But Hub right now is an important city in this system. We're going to call it the Pandemonium system, because the gate there within that system, just recently, a new jump code was uncovered. And it goes from the Pandemonium system off to a lost settlement, a lost system through the gate called Ivor. And of course, because the Decados have the access to that jump gate to it, they have claimed control over that new world, except that new world, there's a noble family, a scattered, fragmentary, old noble family that is there that has some history with the Hazat and with other families, but generations ago. So that's a thing right now, is people, got this new world out there. What are the possibilities? Is there going to be a war and so on? So there are more people coming to Pandemonium, to Hub, and to some of the other planets in the system to see about hiring on for expeditions there, but also because this is a hot spot right now. It is a hot spot of tension and a place for opportunity. And so essentially what's going to be the framework for this is the four of you have found passage on a transport ship traveling to Pandemonium. Your plan is to reach Pandemonium and go down to Hub, check in what the opportunities are there, check in maybe with the church, maybe with family members, maybe with or Ukar that might be present. So there's definitely some opportunities that are there. When you boarded this transport ship, there were a number of other passengers as well. And early on, you, Patrick, would have been approached by a person who you know by reputation, by repute, a much more higher placed member of the Hazat family, named Don Marchenko. And when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the offer and the conversation with Don Marchenko and his associate, and we'll kind of get a little feel for what's going on the ship and set up for our catastrophe. So we're going to take our 10 here. We'll come back. We'll kind of start setting things up, and then Jay, when you come back, we'll roll you into the convo. Sound good?
Perfect. That
Okay.
sounds good.
Quick question for Patrick before you boot. People can leave. It's just a question for him. Do you maybe have some sort of, like, because of your noble birth, you've been given like a ceremonial rank in the military that, like, you didn't earn at all? But you're officially like a captain or a brigadier or something like that, some sort of a title that Nat as a lowly officer, as a lowly grunt, might refer to you as.
Or I like that idea. He'd be very ostentatious about it, using it constantly. Right,
Okay.
right.
Like colonel or general or something like that. You know, he's like never.
Like Sir Colonel or something with like a little title that's at the front of it that indicates that there's something unusual about it. Okay, yeah,
Right,
I like that.
honorary. Yeah.
Maybe
Let's
ahead.
take 10.
Yeah.
Come back at 5 till. We'll kind of start our conversation rolling then. Okay. So Don Marchenko approaches you, Patrick, and greets you with the formality of the Hazat, looks at your companions, asks kind of your basic business, and he has with him a bodyguard. Can tell she has, of the fighting blade and shield and such, clearly trained that. And he says, Captain, would you mind you and your companions speaking with me privately in my berth for just a short time?
A sort of slightly wicked smile, sensing something's up. For context, I mentioned earlier that he's convinced that his rebuffment from the Archons was a test, and he's now suspicious that this is part of the test as well. And he nods. Of course, and he motions that he'll follow wherever he leads.
And you probably have been in the modest seating, the shared, you're in third class right. Here on this ship with, very modest amount of space to go around in, and the most basic of supplies. But you'll be taken back to one of these much more richly appointed private berths. Still small because it is a spaceship, but enough room that having the 6 of you in here is not entirely a discomfort.
Okay.
And he will gesture to all of you to be seated, and he looks at it, says, "My name is Don Marchenko," and he gestures to Don Marchenko Justice. Like your captain, I am of the Hazat. And he says, you look familiar to me, priest. Do I know you?
I am Famo's son.
Excellent. You have a worthy line.
Oh gosh, what do I say to that? What do I know about Don Marchenko from the
Ooh,
family?
that's a good thing. Let's have you make a lore roll. This would be wits or perception plus lore. Which would be, let's see what they call them lore rolls. So what is that in the actual mechanics of the game? Academia.
Okay, so I want to. You said academia, and what was the attribute?
I would say wits or perception.
We'll go with wits, the better
Okay, right.
of the two. And it's just a D20, right?
Yeah, you're trying to roll at this point a 10 or under.
Hmm.
An 11.
So I think with an 11, you kind of know that he's highly placed, but you don't have sense of like who his line is. He's far enough up the hierarchy that like kind of lose track. You know, your brothers would know this.
Right. Even my sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just bow respectfully, and silence is the better part of ignorance. I don't know. So
This is, but your siblings took up the blade, did they not? They are at war.
they are competent soldiers.
The Hazat, for a Hazat not to take up the sword is a challenge in and of itself. And so I admire your strength of character that you would do such a thing, that you would join the priesthood, which is a valued role within the family.
Oh wow! So this is like more praise than he's used to, than I was used. I fight a different battle, and I place my family, the things I've learned from my family, guide me as well as the church.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And you, is it Nat that Captain called you?
That's right, my lord. Nightstick Nat at your service. I mean, Nat at your service, my lord.
Were you? What is the name of the planet that you fought on at this whole Decados battle took place? Just like what do you think the name of it was?
LCV Prime.
LCD?
LCV.
Were you also on LCD?
I was, my lord. Came off it. Which is more than I can say for most of my brothers and sisters in arms, my lord.
That seems a condemnation of your commander there, that you speak in such terms.
I could never speak ill of such a noble commander. who by definition makes only correct moves, my lord.
Who was your commander who only makes correct moves?
Uh, One second.
I put down a spot for names.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to find a suitable Roman. General Commodus Ducati, my lord.
That name is not unknown to me. You are very lucky to be alive.
Any soldier who lives more than 6 months in the service is lucky to be alive, my lord. As is any soldier who comes against me and my boys.
Patrick audibly chuckles. Yeah.
And you, Master Bukar, what role do you play in this company?
I think Vina sat down with everyone else, but I think at some point Vina got up and is hands-on anything that's movable, looking them over, all the oddities, all the different things, right?
And there would have been a moment when the bodyguard would have maybe like started to move, set up, and you would see Marchenko would have put his hand on her shoulder to kind of say, just let him be.
I'm Merit Vina. I was rescued during some bad circumstances, and looking for an opportunity to balance the scales.
So you also bear a grudge of some kind against the Decados?
Indeed. They are probably the vilest humans I have seen yet.
That seems a fair assessment. So, as I understand it, Captain, you were intending to perhaps find some place, some role when you arrived at Pandemonium? Perhaps a chance to head out through the new gate?
The family has taught me to always strike at any opportunity. Yes.
I would like to offer you perhaps a different task, one that would serve the Hazat, but certainly would provide enough firebrands to make it more than worth your while additionally.
I'm
Shall
listening.
Good. I am headed to Pandemonium for several reasons, not least of which is to look into some lost materials from the time that our family held this planet, but also to assay what the Decados' current plans are regarding the gate. I've been sent to this task, and I'm unfortunately a rather obvious choice. I have to go in somewhat publicly, as it were, and I suspect that I will certainly be the target of Decados plots while I am there.
How fortunate we happen to be on the same transport then.
Yes, yes. I would like to employ you and your company to assist me, to be my eyes and ears, perhaps even my protectors, while we are on Pandemonium.
Um, I don't think any of us would object to foiling one of the Decados' poorly planned plots.
Good, good. Then we are well met. I am very, and that's when you'll hear that brr, brr, and like the alarm goes off in the ship. Is probably the first time you've heard like an alarm. Like there is a alarm that goes off when you're going to go through the gate. That because you have to be in particular harness and have to be ready for that.
Okay.
This is different. This is an alarm like you haven't heard before, and there'll definitely be whatever lighting is in here will shift colors to something more violently red. What do you do, Patrick?
There's a flicker of distress, but he does his best to appear to just take it in stride. Are the plots already beginning? And he looks around the room.
Nightstick doesn't wait for like his bosses to decide. He is immediately up and is by the side of the door with his mace out,
Okay.
waiting for in case someone comes through.
Lero, Merritt, what are you doing?
I think whatever Merritt had in hand, he carefully sets back down, right? And then kind of turns to see where everyone else is place-wise, but waits. Yeah, waits.
And Lero?
Oh, yeah, I'll just see is this a warning sound? A warning bell of some sort?
Don Marchenko will go. That is an emergency alarm. Something is happening to the ship or has already happened. And I think that's the point at which you'll actually feel the ship vibrate, like shake. And some of you may have been on ships that took fire before. And it feels a little like that, but maybe different. Don Marchenko is like, we are in orbit. I don't know why we'd be under attack. Says we have a choice. We can either try to get to the escape ships, or we can attempt to make our way towards the bridge to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Question for you before we decide this.
Sure.
I have a moose boss suit.
Okay.
What is that? Is that just armor? Is that a vac suit?
That is basically, and let me get the specifics. I believe that is a kind of a standard armor. I don't believe it is vacuum worthy, but let me check real quick because it's
Okay.
worth knowing at this point.
The ship's taking fire. You want to know if
Yeah.
you're vac protected.
Nice.
Right.
And that was how 3 of the 4 party members died in the first session.
All exposed to vacuum. Really,
Yeah, I don't believe that is what's the armor rating on that is that is not vac ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a polymer knit set of combat armor. Patrick.
Well, we should definitely see if we can be of any assistance. So I say we go to the bridge.
So you will open the door. Nat, are you like moving out, or are you covering? How are you doing this?
There's also a bodyguard for
Definitely the Don and his bodyguard are going to be taking up the rear. They are waiting to see what you all do.
then I'm taking the lead. I'm sort of doing the dart out, look both ways, then jump to the next bit of cover. The vanguard leading the way, cautiously, like cover to cover, but I'm taking the lead.
Okay, lead captain, you're following. Lero, Merritt, are you also following?
Yes.
Okay.
I will bring up the rear.
Nat, captain, you'll move back down the hallway towards essentially the more open cabin, kind of seating and tables and kind of berth there. And the door will come open. And Nat, you will see that splayed out on the floor in here are bodies. They are all kind of laid out, and you will see four, well, like you kind of vaguely recognize them as fellow passengers, and you can see that they have out knives and very small slug throwers, and it looks like they've spent the last like minute killing everyone in here.
Okay.
And they look surprised when they look up and see you, and it's clear that they were just doing the head count. And to them, it looks like maybe you were coming back from the restroom or whatever at that point. So the way that initiative works in this game is we start with one side. Everybody can go at a certain point. The leader of your side, which in this point is the captain, says who goes and who goes next, and then I can interrupt that order by giving the player who I'm interrupting a victory point, or you can give initiative over to me, or you can just let me wait until the end to go, and have the bad guys go. In which case, then I get to pick order on the next round. So it's a little bit like popcorn initiative from other systems.
My blessing is bold, so they have an initiative edge on combat.
Yeah, you may always go first. So, Nat, let's start with you, and then we'll go to the captain to decide how things roll out.
Yeah. So just to clarify, I have on my equipment or abilities, I have a Lank Eruptor Pour and a Mitchow Ripper. Are those both handguns?
Yes, the Lank Eruptor is a big ass weapon. That is a kind of a big blaster type thing. The Mitchow Ripper is a pistol.
Okay. Well, I've got my arm to the teeth perk, which means I can use a melee weapon in my primary hand while carrying a pistol in my offhand to get an extra attack. So, as far as I'm concerned, the higher ups can sort this out if there's any confusion here. But there's killing going on. They're surprised for a moment, and in that brief moment where they hesitate, Nightstick Nat leaps into the room with his mace out in one hand and his Mitchow Ripper in the other, and just goes for the first one. firing a shot as he closes the distance, and then I guess hitting him with the mace, if I'm understanding how this works.
That seems right. So we can look at the mechanics of this. So you get a minor action, which is to move, and you can do your attack roll. So your mace is a 13 or less, I believe.
It's a goal 13, yes.
Yep. So let's have you go ahead and run. They are surprised, and they're certainly intent on combat. So they're not going to spend their action defending.
So just roll 1d20.
1d20.
4.
4. Okay. So here is how this works. You rolled a 4, which means it's a success. And you have 4 victory points. They have basic body armor on, which is a resistance rating of 2. So you spend 2 of those victory points that you got to go, okay, I'm past the armor. And at that point, you'll do whatever damage the mace does.
5.
5.
Hard and stun.
Hard and stun. And then you'll have 2 victory points left over. The most basic thing you can do is you can spend 2 victory points to increase that damage by 1. Or you can hang on to that VP essentially to kind of save it up.
And why did I get 4 precisely?
Because you rolled a 4.
Okay. So whatever you roll under so rolling up like 1 under your number, you're gonna get more victory points.
Yeah. And if you roll
Okay.
exactly what you need, it's a critical.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. This is not, I don't have a lot of extra here, so I will do extra damage.
Okay. So what does that look like? Like, what does this mace look like when you drop this guy?
So I think he's got it's like a military mace, and so it's like it's sort of like a long, thin, like slightly tapered, like sort of expanding as it goes out, black stick, which has just a little bit of like electric charge to it. Like it's not a stun baton, but it adds a little extra oomph.
Okay.
It sort of like crackles as he leaps in and just hits the guy on the neck,
Okay.
and it just crumples him.
Crumples him. He's not dead, but he is well out between the stun effect and you hitting him that hard. 3 more left. Captain.
I got my
Oh, that's right.
arm to the teeth. I get a extra attack for my
Okay.
offhand pistol.
Absolutely. So the Ripper is a 16 or less.
Yeah. So do they all look identical, or does one of them look like they're in charge?
These all look identical, which tells you that there may be a leader type, but they may be in the better cabins and coming this way.
Then I just shoot someone at random.
Okay. Roll it.
10.
10. So once again, that's 10 VP that you've got there. And you can deal that 5 damage, and you can boost that up, or you can save up to 5 VP over to the next round.
So how does boosting work? Do I spend all my remaining VP to boost, or just a certain
Nope.
amount?
For every 2 VP that you spend after their armor, so you've got 8 left. For every 2 VP, you can increase the damage by 1.
Okay, so I will spend 2 to increase the damage by 1.
Okay.
Because 6 damage would drop the first guy.
Yeah.
So I think I just pop the guy in the chest.
Okay.
And so that
Then
Go
for
ahead.
the moment, you've got 6 VP hanging around. Hey, why would you want to
Well-
hang on to that VP? Because
Well-
you can keep 5. I just want to kind of finish this out.
Okay.
You can keep 5 over from round to round, but also if you get hit, you can spend the VP that you have hanging around to increase your resistance.
so I have the ingenious perk,
Okay.
which is I can once per scene I can convert 3 VP I gain from that roll into 1 weird point.
Okay. So weird points are special boost things. They are usually gained from a critical hit. You can move these from the bank to your bank or to the troop coffer. Each round you can spend a weird to make a roll favorable, to do something awesome, to gain 3 VP, or use an occult power with potency.
If I already have an occult power.
If you had an occult power, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll do that, and then I'll save the remaining 3.
Sounds great. Captain, let's go to you. 2 of these guys have already dropped. There are 2 left. And you're also now worried that there might be more coming back from back behind you.
Okay, so there might be more. Okay. All right. Then probably just I'll probably I'll yell over my shoulder to Machenko, watch out, there might be more. To make sure he knows. Then I'll take my Ripper and pick one of the remaining 2 and try to drop him.
Perfect.
Can somebody send me the link to the roll tool?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It is. Let me grab that. And the link is also on the Lines and Veils tab.
Oh, that's where it was. I could not find it. Yeah.
Sorry. I've got it right there by the Pinterest thing, so it blends in.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen it earlier and I couldn't figure out where it was. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You said it's just a D20, right?
Yeah, it's just a D20.
Yep.
So that is a 9.
And lower's better.
It's under your goal. You want it under your goal, which is an 11 or less, but you want it as high as you can. So right now you've got 5. You've got 9 victory points.
9. Okay, awesome.
We take off
Okay.
2 because they've got 2 points worth of armor. So you've got 7
Right.
points sitting around.
Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Let's see. We'll look at my options here. I have 7 and I can carry over 5, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to spend 2 on damage.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be enough to drop one of these guys then.
Right. Yeah. 2 on damage. And I'm going to keep the 5 for something else.
And you hang on to the 5, and it's only at the end of the round that we kind of check and you need to like put the 5 in your bank or whatever to carry it over from round to round.
Gotcha.
I'll check and make sure on that. Patrick, who is next? Captain, is it Lyro? Is it Merritt? Is it the bad guys?
It's the remaining bad guy.
Okay. So this guy is going to take a shot. I think he's going to shoot the soldier first, because that seems like the person who just dropped 2 of his pals. He's going to like duck behind cover and take that shot. And that he's going to miss. So he fires off his little pistol thing at you, Nat, and it will go wide. Lyro, Merritt, you'd also moved out into the hallway.
What is my armor if someone is attacking me?
Hmm?
What was my armor here?
Okay, so you have look at your body resistance. Right now, you've got a resistance of 4. So had I hit you, I would have to have enough points to overcome that resistance to be able to do damage to you.
Gotcha. Okay, so but his attack was what his 2-hit roll was determined by his weapon and stats. And
Yep.
such.
Yep, and a 13 is not enough for him. They're kind of mooks. If I'm being perfectly honest. Lero, Merritt, you're out in the hallway. This kind of wider hallway here in this first, how do I put this? The high class quarters hall. They've gone down. You kind of follow behind a little bit, but you hear the gunfire and the sounds from there. You can see what's going on. But I think the two of you will also see one of these doors open and a pair of figures come out. And they don't have the look of people who are like, oh my God, by the pan creator, what's going on? They have the look of people who are on a mission. And you can see that they have blades out and they have dueling shields. And they have stepped out of the hall. And essentially they move out of the hall and they stop when they see you two. And there's a moment of assessment and you'll see them kind of hit the clicks on their wrists. And you'll see the crackle of their dueling shields come up and they are moving towards you. So that's 2 bad guys behind and the 1 bad guy left in front.
Nice.
I will pass it to Merritt.
I think Merritt smiles and then uses his crushing hand ability on one of the figures in the shield, in their dueling shield.
Excellent. So you need a 13 or less.
Yes. Da, 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 da. Just 1d20, right?
Just 1d20.
Yeah.
Woo! On the dot. Is that me?
That
Oh no, I'm up there. Okay,
That's-
never mind. I'm looking at the wrong one. All right. I got a 2.
so that's 2 VP. Now their resistance is strength. You are going to get past their armor with
Mhm.
those 2 VP,
Okay.
but they're not going to be hindered. I don't think you have enough to overcome their strength right now.
Right.
But what does that look like? Like what causes that damage? What do we see happen?
I think one of them you can see. So I think there's a like an ozone kind of smell, right?
Okay.
I think you also have that kind of electricity feel in your hair, right? Maybe it stands up a little bit on your arms as this energy moves through the hall. One of them kind of stumbles and maybe locks up a little bit. Maybe you can see the energy interplay with the shield. Where the other one is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lyro, you're the last to go on this round. Got 1 guy with a gun out sort of in front. You've got a guy who's slightly injured by Merritt using their weird powers. And 1 guy who's still left there. What do you want to do?
The 1 guy left, that's the guy on the bridge with Nightstick and Patrick, right?
Yeah, there's 1 guy left there, and there's 2 what we'll call agents who are up at the other end.
Oh, okay. So the agent with the gun, I assume he's gonna shoot. I'm gonna, activate the E shield.
Okay.
And I don't know how that manifests. Can I say like it's like a 2-dimensional amoeba almost?
Yeah, I love it. Like
until it gets a little more solid.
yeah.
And I'll stand in front of Don Marchenko. Just
Okay.
in case.
Now you could, if you wanted to, like give Prophet's blessing to someone. If you
Sure.
wanted to like make a task favorable.
Yeah, I will. I'll.
Who do you want to
Um,
bless, and what does that look like?
Huh. Is Don Marchenko's bodyguard here?
Yeah, she is kind of standing in front of Don Marchenko. They're still kind of in that cabin. They haven't moved out into the hallway where this combat is going on.
Okay, so I'm gonna Prophet's Blessing Merit.
Okay.
Merit what does it look like? It's gonna be a lot of chanting in the Latin like language.
Mhm.
uh, and if you're in touch distance, I'll touch your back.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll. You need a 15 or less to activate this.
A 9.
Okay. So you have 9 VP. And I assume you're giving it so Merritt can do their attack with favor.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you have some VP that are sitting around that you can use on the following round if you get hit or some other thing were to occur.
Cool. So I think the max bank is 5 or
Yeah, we checked that at the end of the round. Right now you've got 9. And we were about to hit the end of the round, so it will set down to 5. So you have that sitting around. Tell me, Lero, since you went last, who goes first on this next round?
Merit.
Merritt. You feel that? Do you think that Lero has blessed you before, or is this something new?
I think I think Lero has done it before.
Okay.
So I think the feeling is familiar.
So you've got this blessing. What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to continue to use my ability on because as I look over my sheet, I don't know what the Scrivener key is, but it looks like I don't have. Yeah, so this is my my abilities are my way to.
You've got essentially the 3 psychic things: the lifting hand, throwing hand, and crushing hand. But then you're also an expert at unarmed combat as well.
Gotcha. So can I grab one of these guys and bring them to me?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't want to run over there.
Absolutely. That'd be lifting hand.
Okay.
You would roll that with the favor because of the blessing. So you roll 2d20 and we take the better result.
And I need 14 or less.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, let's do that. And there those are. A 12 and a 14.
Okay, so you got a critical with one of those. So
that's the 14.
That's the 14.
Right. Yeah.
So you get a weird point, which means that's a thing you can use to boost your occult powers later.
Okay.
And you've got enough victory point that essentially you can grab one of these guys and yank him towards you. So one of them has come sailing up towards you off balance, I think, is with the critical. Probably kind of bash him against the side of the wall. He doesn't take any damage, but he is definitely shocked and uncertain. Who goes after you, Merritt?
I think Lero. Yeah.
Lero, what do you want to do? Oh man, I don't know. We're the one that you just grabbed, Merritt. They're shaken, but they're not out, right?
They are grabbed and pulled.
Grabbed and pulled.
Yeah.
Can I just say, in the name of the church, stop this madness.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's This is a persuasion attempt.
Nice.
We do this with your presence, plus, what do you think? Is empathy or impress feel more like the way to go with this?
Impress.
Okay. So let's have you roll impress plus presence. So that's a 10 or less for you.
I fail.
So I think in the chaos of this, it's very clear that they are set to the mission and they are perhaps not even listening to you. And kind of shout that out, and they do not listen to the words of the Pancreator at that moment. Who goes next? We've got bad guys, Nat, and the captain.
Nat.
Nat, there's one guy left in there, and you turn around and you see two nastier looking guys, but one of them has just been yanked up close. You're muted. You are muted.
Can I make an attack, move, and make my offhand attack?
Yeah, because you've got the two attacks, you can do a primary action, a movement action, and a minor action. So there's no thing about order with those. So you can do boom, boom, boom.
Okay. I'm going to shoot the mook.
Okay.
Now I'm noting that I have a marksmanship at the gunslinger level, and I'm looking at that in the rules now, where every turn I can spend a VP to choose two of the following benefits.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot to put those notes in for that, didn't I?
Do I have to? If one of those options is +2 goal for a shoot skill action. Do I have to choose that before I roll?
Yes.
Uh,
So increasing the goal is before you roll. Canceling resistance is after the roll.
yeah, I want to make sure I put this guy down. So I
Okay.
spend 1 VP. With my gunslinger rank, I can choose 2 of the actions.
Okay.
So one is going to be +2 goal for the shoot, and then I am to ignore up to 2 ranks of their armor. So I'm not going to have to spend more VP to. So I got an 18. I've got a, and here comes the 19. But
there's almost no chance you could fail.
Almost no chance. Okay.
So that's a 5. So that's a hit. You ignore their armor. They don't even have to worry about the resistance. You've got 5 VP. If you drop 2 VP into that, you can drop this guy.
Yeah, I'll drop 2.
Okay. So the last one in that room goes down.
And then I have 3 left I can save.
Yep.
Right. And so then in the other room, as I just pop this guy in the forehead. And then turn around and I see there's one guy that's been pulled close.
Yeah. So imagine that it's a fairly wide hall, but this guy has been pulled close. There's Lyro and Merritt sort of in the hallway, kind of between you and this guy. And then further down the hall is another one of these guys with the dueling shield up.
Am I to assume that I have had at least some practice fighting E-shields?
I think you know how E-shields work. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I then sort of like sort of a leaning forward run, like crouching low to the ground to lower his target.
Mm-hmm.
I sprint toward the guy with my mace up, and at the last moment, I slow down the blow so it can go through. Hopefully, go through the E-shield.
Absolutely.
At the near guy.
So go ahead and roll that attack roll. So that is a 1.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, you held over some VP from last round, plus you got an additional 3. So I think you've got like
I've got a total of 5.
Total of 5 right now to play around with.
Which is the most I can have, right? In my capacity at 5?
No, you can have more. It's just at the end of the turn, you need to be down to that. So let's look at this. How much damage does your mace do?
5.
5.
Done.
Okay. So here's the thing is they have a 6 to 9 E-shield. So you will hit him with that 5 if you don't bump the damage up.
I mean, I'll burn my stuff. I also have the weird point
Okay.
that I can use if I want. So, spending how does that spending VP to boost damage work?
So if for you it's 2 VP for +1 damage. So you need to either do 5 points of damage or 10 points of damage. But
If I spend all of them on damage.
yeah, here's the thing: is if you do 10 points of damage, he's still going to subtract that 9 from it. You're actually better off doing the 5.
Okay. Can I spend my VP to do anything else? Any other features?
Yeah, you could spend your weird to do something often. Do you want to break the shield?
Let me see if there's anything else that I would do. Can I get the stun benefit of my attack somehow? Or do I need
Yeah,
more
he is
damage to
definitely
that?
he is going to be stunned. Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of what I do?
Yeah.
No, I won't bother breaking the shield.
Okay. Hang on the weird,
say
but you do hit him. He is stunned. That means he's going to have to spend some to overcome that. Kind of knock back against the wall. Who do you want to have go next, Nat? The captain or these 2 bad guys?
Is there a benefit to letting bad guys go first?
Well, if you let them go last, then they can choose to go first on the next round.
Yeah, no, bad guys.
Okay. So
Back-to-back moves is rarely a good thing for the
yeah.
bad guys to take.
So this guy who got hit by you is going to attempt to shake it off. Not going to shake that off. So he is, let me make sure I'm stunned. What the effect is. Oh, I'm so glad there's no index in this because that would have been way too easy. Come on, table of contents. States. Okay. He is going to attempt to hit you, but his attack is unfavorable because he is stunned. Oh yeah, he swings wide. Like he goes to bring that blade up at you, and he doesn't even come close. But Lero, you will see the other guy with the dueling shield and the blade come running up at you because you're the closest person to them, and going to attempt to strike you with the sword. So that is going to hit. Let me check my little notes here. And blade does that. So
But does my e-shield help?
what is the range of your e-shield?
I don't know.
What's
This
your
is antique.
what is the threshold? That should be right below it.
I don't.
There we are.
It's,
Oh
you
yeah,
see it?
yeah.
Okay.
It's right below e-shield antique. It says threshold 6 to 9.
Okay, I see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
6 to 9. Okay.
So he hits that. So he is going to have to spend his VP to actually reduce the damage so that it'll actually go past your E shield. So he is going to do 5 points of vitality to you.
Okay.
So it's a slice, but it's not a heavy one. But he is up by you, and he's clearly trying to, like, he wants to get you out of the way so he can get at probably Marchenko. Captain, what are you doing?
So the guy that's trying to get to Marchenko, what weapons does he have?
He
What did
has
he
a
use?
dueling shield, and this blade.
And a blade. Okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna do fencing. I'm gonna pull my rapier.
Okay.
And try to get in the way / challenge him.
Okay.
And I'll just note, since I guess I have the rules up, you have the gallant level of your dulo fencing,
Yes.
which means you can spend 1 VP and choose +2 goal.
Yeah, I've got those notes down at the bottom of his character keeper
Okay.
there. I
Yeah,
forgot
saw
to do it for
those,
marksman. Yeah.
That was gonna be my next question. So so what +2 goal, that makes it easier to hit it, to make sure I hit, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, then I'm gonna do that one. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
gonna make sure.
So
make
right
it
now
easier.
you're at a 15 or less.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So that is a just missed. So he will swing at him. And he kind of moves to the side,
Okay.
but that is the end of the round. And
Okay.
would you like to go first in the following round?
Yes.
Then you may do that.
Okay. And I miss again, do I? Or no?
No, that was a 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So right now you have 4 victory points.
Plus my 5 from plus my 5, right?
Plus your 5. So you get 9 to play around with. And you can spend those. Right now, his dueling shield is you need to do less than 6, 5 or less, or you need to do more than 9, and how do I put this? Whatever is done above 9 will get through. Here's the thing: that dueling shield isn't per attack; it's per turn. So if you overload the damage on it, other people
Everybody
go
else that
Yeah.
strikes at him won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so how much would it cost? It's 1 per damage. What's my fencing saber?
So right now you're doing 6 points. You could spend
Okay, I
1
do 6.
point from your gallant to take it to 7, and then for 4 more victory points, so a total of 5, you could get up to 9, and his shield essentially would be shorted out for the round.
Okay, that's what I'll do then.
Okay.
And I have 4 to play with after that.
Yeah. So there's this crackle as you hit it, like just right, such that you see the shield overload, and of course his eyes get wide when that happens. Who goes after you?
I'm gonna say this is not the guy that's held at the moment, right?
There's one guy who's been pulled up forward that Nat's engaged with, and this guy who was attacking Lyra, you probably stepped in the way there.
Right. Yeah. Then in that case, I'm gonna say Nat.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I didn't actually write how many VP did I have to spend last turn in my attack there? Anything?
I don't remember.
Okay.
No clue. Sorry.
I did 5, which is the minimum damage, which is I don't think I had to spend anything else then.
I don't think you had to spend any. You didn't have to reduce your damage. Didn't have to spend VP to do that. So it would have had the rest left over.
Okay. Yeah. So first I'm going to attack this guy with my mace, the guy
Okay.
who I'm up close with.
Let's have you roll.
8. Which is
8.
under my 13.
Okay, so you get 8 VP. This guy's shield is still at that 6 to 9 range. You could do another 5 if you want to just do straight and not add any VP onto it.
So if I did 5, that would just like weaken his shield.
Well, that would go through. His shield wouldn't activate if you did 5. Otherwise,
okay.
you could push it up.
Right.
You
and
know,
But you
I'll
did
do-
5 to him last round
Yeah,
too. So
I'll just do 5 straight.
Okay, so that's a boom, boom. You hit him twice with this mace, and
Yeah.
he is not in good shape. He's about to go down.
I'm intentionally going in under his like slowly, because I know that's how you bypass these shields.
Yeah,
And so I you know I could hit other people I could hit a mook much harder than this.
Right.
But these moderate taps are how you take down a knob.
and your gun.
I sort of glance briefly and shoot the guy whose shield just got shorted out.
Okay, go ahead and make that attack roll.
And I will use my marksmanship again.
Okay,
Where
so
I
a
can spend
13 or less, right?
I know that's 16 or
Or
less.
16 or less. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to spend I'm gonna make that 18 or less with one of my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, he doesn't have any armor-based body resistance, right?
Not right now.
That'll do +1 damage
Okay.
as my other factor here. So 15.
Oh, so I think he ragdolls. Essentially, Captain has hit him with that sword, brought the shield down, and then boom, 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 and Laro, this guy collapses on you, bleeding out, and crashes to the ground.
And I make sure he doesn't die.
Okay. So you're kind of tending. Oh, that's a lot of yeah. Ooh, yeah. Merritt, what are you doing? This guy has taken a total of 13 points of damage. He is on his last legs. You are muted. Still muted.
Too many mute buttons.
Yeah.
I punch him out.
Okay. So doing an unarmed strike.
Yes. It says I have a jock boxing. I'm not sure if that's helpful.
Yeah, that's the thing, the ADEP that you have down below that gives you those extra bennies for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. I see that. Gotcha. All right. And I need 12 or less.
You do.
Oh man.
I'm going to say, just because we're at the end of the thing, that you could have spent victory points to increase your goal. Since you had some left over. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes.
sure.
Plus he only takes like what does that look like? This guy's already gotten beaten twice by the mace, and you also hit him with the force grab before. What does that look like what does the jock box drop look like?
I think it's I think I'd just punch him through the shield out. I think I know that he's close, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I don't, it's just let me just put you out of your misery. It's a mercy knockout.
Yeah.
He can't go anywhere.
It's casual strength you use there.
Yes.
Marchenko pops out of the door and he says, this is clearly an ambush. And he says, we need to get to the emergency pod, the escape ship now. And he will gesture that way. And like start making his way down there, and that is where we're going to leave off, is with you making an escape from here. Does that seem reasonable?
Yep. Seems
Okay.
I
awesome.
like it.
Okay. We'll do stars and wishes next time at the end of that session, since we just did kind of set up and things today. We'll take up sort of hard frame with the escape from that and the arrival on Pandemonium, and figure out about that. Does that sound cool?
I like it.
Okay. There's a lot of little bits in this game. There's a lot of currency to keep track of. I will post some links for some things for you guys to look at, and we'll get down till it gets smooth. Thank you all very much for coming along on this ride for trying this out. I certainly appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording.